because it's nerve-wracking.
It is nerve-wracking, and we are live.
Woo! This is so exciting.
Hello.
Hello, podcast world.
Welcome to Don't Be a Taco with Darlene and Melissa.
Woohoo!
I'm with my friend Darlene, and we used to work together at Kennywood Park in West Mifflin, PA.
KP.
Yep. And so we're here to talk about our memories and then whatever happens in between.
Could be anything.
Yes, because we're both chatty Cathys. So you want me to tell them? Do you want to tell them about yourself?
Yes, like what?
Okay.
Anything?
Anything.
Like right now or back then?
A little bit of both.
Well, right now, I am a stay-at-home mom chasing a 7 and 11-year-old. But now that they are in school full-time, I'm starting to transition and go back to having a full-time career.
Oh, cool.
But I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm asking the universe
Yes.
to send me my signs to figure it out. But I started working at Kennywood in 1997.
Oh, okay. Oh, we started the same year.
Yeah, were you in 97?
I started July of 97.
So then I started probably right when the season opened. Because I came home from...
Okay. Okay.
So whatever, before summer.
Okay.
Right before summer. So that's probably... I was probably already
fall fantasy,
in the...
Or no, that's at the end.
I probably was in the pizza stand, and then halfway through the summer, you appeared.
No, actually, I was a sweeperette.
Oh, that's right.
That was when they only hired women to sweep the park. And the litter getters were only men.
Yes.
Yes.
I always wanted to drive a litter getter
Me
truck.
too. And they're like, well, only guys do that. And it's like, okay. But yeah, I remember when I started as a sweeperette, after I started working there, every time I saw a cigarette butt on the ground, I was like, I could think of my job everywhere I go.
Did you have to be Kenny?
I got to be Kenny for a couple parades.
Ooh.
Did you?
No. I mean, it's something you always want to do. You think in your head, woo, I'm going to be a character. And, you think of the princesses in Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
And no. Because then when you see what you actually have to do and you're in 100-degree weather, stuck in a insulation suit, me. I was like, oh, thank God I don't got to be in there.
No, I like it. I just bring on the pain when it comes to putting a costume on. I mean, that's how it is at Fright Nights. When I have a mask on or I have the nose and the chin on and it's sweating and it's just sweat. I used to have to let my nose drain. When I was Wanda the Wickedly Wacky Witch. Go on YouTube. There's a video. Just me. It's just me walking around talking to a few people, but it's my most watched YouTube video.
That's funny. But I think from a distance, I had an affinity for being Kenny. But once I saw it in action, I was like, nope, not for me.
Oh. No, I didn't I always looked at those characters I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
But I just kind of never, I don't know, I just didn't think to figure it out and how to become that or or ask how I could do it, or whatever. But how it happened for me is George Gatos' sister was working at Kennywood.
Oh, George Gatos. If there isn't a more fun person to work with in the world. Are we allowed to say people's names?
I guess. Maybe we should. Maybe we should just stick to
George.
First name.
Yeah.
Sorry, George. Your whole name's out there.
You're out there. Your whole government's out there.
But no. But I think his sister's name was Melissa, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway, she was Kenny, and she couldn't do it one day, and she asked me if I wanted to do it, and I was like, yeah. So there's a couple of times for the parades that I got to be, twice I got to be Kenny, and then one time I was a clown. I have a picture of that, and then another time I was a cow.
And then that's exciting. But then
That's a bad guy.
for the fall fantasy parade, or just in general.
I don't know if it was fall fantasy or if it was the
Oh, the Victorian Festival.
yeah, that's what it used to be called, Victorian Days. Now they call it like America Days or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. They did switch it. But then why? Like, how did you go from Sweet Barette to the pizza stand?
Oh, Carol Pelagia. Oh, whoops, just Carol. Oh boy, it's so weird how we're used to saying people's full name from that era.
Because there's certain people that you said their first and last name, and it kind of amalgamated into like one word.
Yeah,
and it became like there's certain people where you would just say, "Hey, there goes Bill."
Yeah.
Or hey, there goes Tim.
Yeah. I know which Tim you're talking about.
Yeah, and so you didn't always.
He was my So I didn't want to be a Sweet Barette, and so after '97, I was a Sweet Barette in '98, and I really wasn't. Being a Sweet Barette back then was kind of like being on the cheerleading squad. Yes, in a sense where I didn't feel like I belonged there.
There was I think
it was only a couple people that I really like got along with.
Right. Like Kennywood was definitely a social experiment. It was like a microcosm of like society, of like this group, that group. There was the security guards. There were the girls who dated the security guards.
Which there was a lot of them were
There
Sweet
were the
Barettes.
Sweet Barettes. Yeah.
Because those are the two roamers.
Yeah, but it was easy to generalize and put people in these categories. And I think that it's easy to do back then because everybody was young,
Yeah.
Like everybody was in their teens or early 20s.
Yeah, we didn't get stuck in our ways and like have like...
Yeah, or nobody had any like...
We didn't hate too many people yet.
And you just didn't have life experience. So it was like, it was high school and college constantly,
Like it was like a commingling of high school and college, which is usually frowned upon.
Yeah.
At least at frat parties.
Well, I feel like if there was reality TV back then,
oh yeah,
Kennywood would be like...
It would have been fun. The Grove parties.
Yeah.
And the gala.
Were you on... Did you sing with us on stage?
No.
You did not sing with us on stage.
No, I remember you singing. We'll get to that
I did
story.
a lot of singing. We can get to that. But the Grove party, one year they had karaoke or something, so you could
at that
sign
point in time.
Up. You might have been...
At that point in time in my life, it was either not there or
maybe
I wasn't open enough to do it.
I don't wonder.
I would
I
dance,
bet you. I think it might have been your brother.
Oh,
I
then
think
I wasn't.
Yeah, but we had decided that we were going to sing Simon and Garfunkel's Cecilia.
No, that was definitely
Were
there.
you there for that?
I was there when you were practicing. Remember? That's our story.
It is?
Isn't that when you and Jamie were practicing and listening to it on repeat at the Pizza Warehouse?
Well, that was Madonna.
No.
Oh,
both
we did
things.
Both of them.
Yeah, it was two different periods of time. I didn't know that you were practicing for Kennywood karaoke. I thought you were going to like the carousel or somewhere.
No, at one of the Grove Well, I mean, we could have been doing that too.
I never went to that carousel.
You never went to the carousel. That's where I celebrated
underage.
my 21st birthday.
Oh, I was at...
They all took me over there. That was my 21st birthday.
Oh, that's awesome.
I got a shot from Larry.
I was going to say the whole name. It was in my head.
Another whole name one. But I got a shot from like everybody.
Oh no.
It was because
did it all come up second time around?
Yeah. I spent the ride home with my head out a window.
That's
Thank Bev. Bev was my wrangler. She was older than us, and it was like her like last or like like she was like older.
What year
leaving.
was this that you turned? Was that 98 or 99?
I don't know.
It had to be. No, you know what? It had to be 98.
I mean,
or
I
99.
tell people I'm 29.
Those are the only 2 years I was in Pizza Warehouse.
See, it's hard because I still go by that I'm 29. So then to figure out my age.
I don't care. Everybody thinks I'm in my 30s. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. It stinks when you're younger and like you're in like 5th grade and someone's like, "Oh, honey, are you in 1st grade?" And you're like, "No, I'm in 5th grade."
It was weird. Like people thought I was like a little bit older because I think I acted slightly more mature than some of the other girls. Because there'd be like
'Cause they're, like,
cattiness and
more
all that stuff, and I
giddy
just
and-
didn't have nothing
yeah.
to do with that.
You were
I
not
was just like, I don't want to deal with that.
right.
I'll
Yeah,
hang out with the guys.
yeah. But we decided to sing Simon and Garfunkel's Cecilia. So we probably spent all day, every day, putting it on replay in the pizza stand
While I was miserable on register.
to the bane of
Because-
everybody else's existence.
Yes, and you guys, oh man, I was so sick of hearing that song over and over again, and I was in a point of my life where I was like listening to a lot more like hip hop and stuff then,
Oh, yeah.
and I was just like, what the fuck is this song? And I just was like, I really like it was ruining my day. And I remember what you said to me.
Oh God, what I
When you
say? Because who
surprised
knows?
me
I used to
and
say the worst things ever.
I'll
I've
let you
learned
finish.
how to
I'll let you finish the day, and then I'll.
But
tell
I've
you
learned
what
how to control, not completely, but I've had to learn the hard way to control what I say because I had a hard time filtering or slowing down my thoughts before they popped out of my mouth.
I still have that problem sometimes.
And it got me in a lot of trouble and a lot of pickles. And I feel like I've learned to restrain
Were
myself.
they gherkins?
No,
Oh.
they were big fat kosher dills. But so we were practicing and we were playing Cecilia all day, every day. And we were singing and whatever. And then we were so excited because we thought that we were so good. And we went to the Grove party that night.
Get a little closer to
And-
them. Or you can pull the mic back.
There was I don't even know who this kid was. I don't know if he was in the rides department or the game because we were all refreshment stand people. And he somehow, once we got into the park, because we were all, I don't remember where we were ahead of time, but we were all pre-gaming somewhere off the park
Oh.
before. And then we came into the park.
Probably
and
the parking lot.
it could have been
Yeah,
the
it
parking lot,
usually
or
was.
sometimes we would actually like if there was someone older, like we'd go to like if people went to Pitt or like someone's apartment or someone's house where their parents.
I never
weren't
did
home.
that. I hung out in the parking lot once with some. I don't know if you were there or not with a few people before, but I usually didn't
On
even do that.
occasion, but there was a couple people who were a little bit older, and we would be able to go to their house first, or somebody's parents weren't home. And we would be able to go to someone's house. But we came back and we thought like we were super excited. And somehow this kid kind of like a magnet kind of just stuck with us. And he was like, yeah. And we were like, we didn't know who he was, but we were all just like
Was he
happy-go-lucky. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So we
He
get
was
up.
like, people with legs. I'm gonna follow them.
Well, there was like a group of us. I don't remember who all was singing on stage with us, who were supposed to be on stage with us. Because it was a bunch of us from the pizza stand, or maybe like...
I know it was you and Jamie, because you two were the ones that
and
kept
Lori.
listening to the song over
Lori
and over.
was definitely with us. And I don't remember who else, but there was like a group of us. It wasn't just like one or two people. And we got on stage and we were like so pumped, and I was like so excited because I love singing, and there was an audience and a microphone and like this.
We're just pretending there's an audience.
Yeah. So
there's your audience.
Yeah.
The rock and roll wall.
Hello.
Michael Jackson.
What up,
Bruce
MJ?
Springsteen. The Beatles.
All right, Bruce.
Jimmy.
Love them. Even Stevie.
Stevie, yeah.
But we got on stage, and this kid followed us, and he looked like he was part of our group, which I don't care. Like we didn't care. Like we were having a grand old time. We were half toasted. We were having a blast up on stage, and as soon as this music comes on and we start singing, he takes his shirt off and spent the entire song like shaking,
like doing
his
the truffle
belly.
shuffle.
Yes,
he
was truffle shuffling.
He's like,
and
oh, Cecilia.
he was not an individual.
Nobody can see me.
He was not an individual with a 6-pack at all. It was
kind of like a
mortifying.
Burt Kirshner, what's his name?
I don't know, but it was.
He's the comedian who always takes his shirt off. He has a podcast too.
Does he?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm like in a hole in a den
That's
somewhere,
okay.
so I
We'll
don't
get you
know
out.
like modern culture.
We'll figure it out.
But I think he might have been a little hairy too. And he just the entire time, and they thought that we put him on stage on purpose like that to like.
And we're like, no.
And we ended up getting last place because of the shirtless guy. And they told us that we sounded really good, and we would have done well had the shirtless guy not been obnoxious up on stage with us. And I was so crushed, and I was like, that crazy guy. But I love music. And I can't imagine not having a song in my head. And that's what, like, with pizza, it was the only stand in the entire park.
We had a CD player.
We had a CD player.
A CD player.
That was, like, big stuff.
Yeah, except for when they brought the Immaculate Collection in.
And it was a glorious day.
Wait, so the Immaculate Collection, my favorite part of that story is that after a couple of 2, 3, 4, I don't know how many days of you guys singing that on repeat into your spatulas.
Yes, I mean, you have to have a microphone.
Well, then there was the wonderful, glorious morning that I opened with Tim. And we were back there putting the radio on, and he found the CD, and he goes, should I hide it? And I was like, I shook my head, yes. I was like, yeah. And then we hid it
Madonna.
We hid it from you guys. Now, I don't hate Madonna. I lost my voice singing to her when I was a kid. But when you hear it for a week straight on repeat, yeah, it's a little much.
That's how the people in my life are like, if we get in your car, you are not, one, allowed to sing, and you are not allowed to blast the music. Wow. And I'm like, well, why are we getting in the car then?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, how did we not become friends? I'm the same way. Like, sometimes I'm like, people start talking to me, and I'm like, don't you realize I'm trying to enjoy this song that's on the radio right now? Like, could you shut up for like 2.5 minutes?
Yeah,
please?
like, I feel my car is my karaoke stage every time.
Yes.
All the time.
Oh, all the time, yeah.
But that's how the pizza stand was. And, I mean, for us, when you were stuck there for 12 hours, 10 hours.
Yeah, we knew how to make work fun. That's what I tell people up at the other pizza shop I deliver for. And I was like, man, we used to make it fun. I was like, we used to throw cheese, and we just throw bags of cheese down the line to each other. And then if we needed ice, and then you'd fill the bucket up, ice, and everybody would get out of the way. It was like the parting of the Red Sea. Like, you heard ice, and just everybody moved.
It was
one
fun.
side or the other, and you slid the bucket down, emptied it, slid the bucket back.
I feel like it's like
we knew how we had a whole
when
rhythm
you're
to things.
all stuck together in this like stressful, hot, crazy environment. You had no other choice but to make it fun.
Or it would be boring.
Yeah, or you could tell the people who weren't gonna like goodbye. Like, they weren't staying.
Yeah,
and it isn't easy work, because for years I didn't want to work at Kennywood. I was like,
really?
I used to babysit for a family, and it was good money. You know, it was a family in Jefferson Hills, and I would, usually on the weekends during the summer, like I would come 2-3 days a week and help the mom. And I did pretty well. But when I went to college, I needed to pay for my apartment.
Yeah.
And I had to pay for college myself. So I had to figure it out. And that was like, if you lived around Kennywood Park, that was the place to go. If you wanted to make money and make a lot of it all summer, that's where you went.
Yeah, because you could work 15 hours a day at $4.90 an hour.
Oh, I was
$4.25.
I think it was $4.25, and then if you worked till Labor Day, you got a 50-cent bonus for all your hours for the summer.
Was it 50 cents or a quarter? And then it went up to 50 cents.
Maybe.
But
I don't remember.
I remember
exactly.
when I started there, minimum wage was like $4.75, but they gave us $4.90.
Woo.
And I remember, like, we would do open to close. Remember, like, they would have us work open to close.
Yeah.
But yeah, talk about child labor.
I think about that now.
But I enjoyed it.
Yeah, we just worked. And I think about kids nowadays, and I wonder, would they do the kind of work we were doing, the type of hours we were doing for the pay we were doing.
And for the most part, try to make it as fun as possible, and actually do the stuff, because I'm telling you, whenever I stopped working there, and I would go as a guest, and I would go up to like Pizza Pav or wherever and watch these kids in the back, like where what they're just sitting there with these dead looks on their face. They're not engaged at all, and and it just, the back of the stand, it just drove me crazy just to see the way it looked. And I'm like, man, they don't care. Like we put love into what
You know what?
I remember, I don't know if you remember when you came up to Pizza Pav, but we used to do like cheese races where like, because we would be
that's
so
right.
busy
You ended
at
up
times.
going to Pizza Pav.
Yeah, I got transferred because of somebody who will remain nameless. Didn't really like me much, but I did do something that I didn't even realize I did, because I was pissed off at the person for putting me on sweep 2 weeks in a row.
Ugh, sweep was
because
the
they didn't like
worst
me,
job.
and they wanted me out of the stand.
Right.
So they went on a power trip when they became a supervisor. And sorry, we're cool. Me and this person are cool now, but back then we had two different personalities.
And I think, like, I mean, you think about how long ago it was,
Yeah.
and the people that we even know aren't even the same people anymore. You know what I
No.
mean? Like, even like
We were
like
ki- we
even
were all
you know what I
kids.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're not the same person. Like, and
No.
in my head, I have the Kennywood person I knew, which is totally different now.
Yeah, much different. Yeah, definitely. There's all kinds of different things, but yes, what I did was, on my part, is this person made me mad, and I went to leave. I lit a cigarette up in the back of the stand as I was walking out. I was like, I didn't even realize I did, because I was just pissed.
Yeah, it's
And
like
I-
part
and
of your
they-
like normal coping strategy.
Right. So when I got called to the principal's office,
yeah,
I had to go to the office the next day, and they're like, "Well, you lit up a cigarette in the stand." I was like, "Oh, I think I was like, I don't even remember. I was like, I must have, but I didn't even remember doing it. But I remembered after they told me."
yeah.
Whatever. But I ended up loving Pizza Pav, though.
Yeah, because then eventually I ended up going up there.
Yes, and then that leads us to the rest of the Cecilia story. So you remember?
I don't.
I talk about it with you on Facebook. You must look at it and like, I don't know what you're
No,
talking about.
I'm sure I do. I'm sure I do. But
No, but okay, so this was years after the karaoke thing.
Yeah.
And I'm at Pizza Pav, and you get promoted, to Pizza Pav. And we're both opening one day, and you come in with a radio. You go, "Maffeo, I got something for you." And
That
you
sounds
brought
like
the
me.
radio over, and you were like, remember, the day we played this, you're like, if there was a bridge at Pizza Warehouse, you would have jumped right off of it.
that's
You
right,
were
you
so
did say that.
miserable. You said that to me.
oh god.
You told me that, and then you put the song on, and it was Cecilia. And then we were laughing. So from that day on, now I love that song.
Oh. That is one of my like
That's how you
favorite
get
songs.
somebody to love a song that they weren't really digging.
You know what though? I
That's
feel
your
like
story.
music I have used always.
Mm-hmm.
It like brings people together. It lightens the mood. When I was teaching, we had a principal who was a very strong leader, who was really, really good. And where I was teaching, you needed to have strong leaders.
Yeah.
You know, like there was a lot of challenges and a lot of obstacles there. And if you didn't have somebody who was large and in charge, the kids took over in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I went to high school there.
And they knew in a second, you know, because we had a principal who, when she came, and she didn't last for long, but she kind of mothered them, felt bad about their situations. And so they knew, they would tell you, they'd say, "Miss Lav, if you put tears on in her office, you don't have to get suspended or anything. You just have to cry in front of her." And they knew it. You know,
kids aren't stupid.
No, so they knew how to work the system.
I worked the system when I went to Catholic school, when I was like in a little kid. Like I remember I like wanted to leave school, and I was in the office, I don't know how old I was, like third, second, fourth grade. That's how young I was.
Yeah.
And this kid that I knew my whole life and was in school with at the time, obviously, he was in there with me, and he was like, just take the thermometer and rub it on your leg real fast and then put it in your mouth. They don't see it. And so it put the temperature up. And I did that right on my plaid skirt.
If you want to stay home from school, kids,
right on my
rub your thermometer on your leg.
On your plaid skirt.
On your plaid skirt. A little more friction.
That you drew little pictures on in the light gray squares with your pen. Like one had a smiley face, one was just some like triangles. And all these.
That's funny. I don't even remember what I was saying now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I don't remember.
You were talking about. I'm the worst person to ask to recall back.
Chapter 2.
Well, we got you. I said it brought me to Cecilia because you got promoted.
Oh, the music.
Right.
So the principal. Here we go.
Okay, I did it. Yes.
So this principal, he ended up getting promoted and going to another school district, which would have been a promotion for him, and we were just so down because we didn't have anybody to lead. It was just a rough transition after he left, and I decided, listen, we need to do something. And I wound up getting this like little portable speaker. That's when iPods, you actually had to like press the wheel. Like
like the Nano.
It was like before the times of like screens and touch screens and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And
everything was semi-smart.
Yeah. And I got these speakers that like you just plugged it like right into the speakers thing.
Yeah.
But these speakers were like loud enough, and I would carry it around. I was like, look, it's like the 80s. I got my boombox back. And
I did that and when I was in high school, and that wasn't the 80s. My Walkman got stolen. I think that was when
it yellow?
No, I didn't have that yellow Sony Walkman. I may have at one point, but my favorite Walkman that I had a couple times was the silver Iowa one with the 5-channel on the front.
I had an Iowa
cassette tape player. Yeah.
I actually bought with my Kennywood money an Iowa stereo.
Yes, with a 3-disc CD changer.
Yes.
Mine got eventually. I loved that thing, and eventually it got smashed by a boyfriend.
Oh,
yeah.
Mine came to college with me, and it got a lot of use.
Yeah, those were great. Like, I don't know. Remember when guys used to have like their systems in the trunk, and they would have like they'd have to go into the trunk,
to like change
put all the CDs in there, and you remember like I think I had one at once. Like you took the radio plate off of your car so nobody could steal your radio. So
it just popped right off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I always had music around me, and that was also
Did the kids like that?
It was the Napster. Yeah, like we would do it in class, But what would happen is I would plug my iPod in, and I came in and I just blasted music that morning. It was like the first morning he was gone. And it started with me and the security guards in the lobby. We were dancing, and they were like, "Lav, you got any?" I don't even remember what it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me look. I have everything. And because that's when you had to download it all. That's like the Napster years.
Yeah, LimeWire, Napster, Share, Care, or whatever that was.
I didn't use Napster, but it was Audio Galaxy. And that was like when everybody still had dial-up.
Dude, I still have my CDs in cases. Like all the ones that I made.
Yeah.
The only thing is, like, I remember
nothing like a mixtape
for the longest.
CD.
I remember the first one I made off of Napster, the first one, but I lost it at some point.
Yeah.
or something. But I'm still mad at to this day that I don't have it. But I have like some of the first ones that I made, but I have a shit ton of them, shit ton.
It used to take hours to like download one song. Like off like the dial-up. So like we had dial-up. So what I would do is before I'd go to bed at night, I'd like queue up like 4 or 5 songs, and then by like 2-3 days, I'd have my.
See, I wouldn't be able to do that because we had a family computer. So everybody
was
the
using
computer.
it.
But then if you were on dial-up, you couldn't use the phone, so you had to like not use it at night. I never even thought of doing it overnight.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
I would be on that forever, and I'd make like I'm like getting ready to like to go out, so I'd make a CD to take with me.
Yeah. Oh, I still have my CDs.
Bed of Roses and like and Mr. Big. I'm the one who wants to be with you.
Mm-hmm.
Deep in. Okay, all right, I'll
but
stop.
but anyways, so then I created my like Friday music mix, like on my
Yeah.
iPod, and we danced around the halls that day. Like the secretaries, I went in the office, and God love our high school secretary. She had lived in Clareton her entire life. Her entire career, she worked with the school district, so she knew that town
Everyone.
in and out. She would
Yeah.
talk about the jazz clubs, she would talk about like everything, and she loved music. And so if you spoke music, you spoke her language. And I
Oh.
came in there, and she's like, "Come on, Lav," and we're dancing. And I
That's what they
walked
called
around
you,
the
Lav.
halls, yeah. And they looked out, and you could see people like looking out, like, "What the heck?" But then it just brought everybody together.
Right.
Everybody danced.
Yeah,
Everybody.
it's just a positive, good vibe, and
Yeah, and
when
we just-
people see you enjoying yourself, it makes them happy, and then it makes them want to join in.
Yes. And so
Yeah.
then it became a ritual. They said Friday mornings. I mean, I'm sure I probably annoyed the shit out of people. I mean, I'm sure there were
You
some
made me
who
think
like
of something about high school.
were just like, "What the heck is this?" But people asked me, the next Friday, they were like, "It's Friday. Are you bringing the music in?" And it just became a ritual.
I was the person that always brought the boombox on the bus because I played basketball.
Oh yeah.
So I would bring my boombox that
Yeah.
had the removable speakers. I mean, I didn't remove them, but I had the dual deck,
Oh.
and then I'd have to like auxiliary cord the CD into it if I wanted to. So I had this like whole freaking DJ
setup.
system in my extra gym bag that I brought just for the
Yeah.
music to play it on the bus because I wanted to share it, wanted everybody to listen, and I remember I went from Catholic school to the public school, and I was like one of the only white girls on the team.
Yeah.
And when I started, I remember one time, one of the first times on the bus, I started playing music, and one of the girls, I started playing I don't remember what it was. It was like a hip hop song or something, or R&B or something. And they were like, "Wait, I thought you listened to country or something like that." And if that actually, I do now, but at that time in my life, I hated country. I was not a country girl at that time at all.
I love everything. I love
Yeah.
everything, but
I have
country's
appreciation
lower
for
on
everything.
the. I mean, there's some songs that are iconic and classic,
Yeah.
and
Like Achy Breaky Heart.
I definitely was dancing along to that one.
Yeah. I can't
mean-
remember how to do the dance though.
No, I don't.
Oh my. And the mullet. He was the only person with a mullet at that point in time.
Do you know the mullet's coming back?
Mm-hmm.
My kids currently have mullets. Asked for them.
Theo Vaughn has a mullet.
Does he?
Mm-hmm.
It's coming back, and to me, I cringe. And we went to.
Some
where,
people can pull it off though.
It's the cool thing. All the kids at school, my kids. I have 2 sons. They're
That's
in
crazy.
mullets.
And they want it.
They want it.
It's
They asked
so
for
weird
it.
because we used to that was the one haircut that you definitely made fun of if somebody had it.
Yeah.
It was
I mean,
the weird. I don't know.
people were wearing it way past their due date. It was still being worn way past the due date, and you're like, oh, no mullet. But it's coming back.
Yeah, everything comes back around. Bell bottoms.
Yeah, I'm not a good. When you're short, bell bottoms don't work.
Yeah,
'Cause-
you'd have to go more with the bootleg cut.
Yeah,
I had bootleg cut stuff.
yeah, because when you're short, all it does is just widen.
Yeah, you just kind of look like a
Yeah, your legs aren't. You have to have long
like an
legs to
hourglass,
pull that off.
literally an hourglass. You just
Yeah.
have this much little, and all this flare, and all this up at the top. I don't know. No. I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, you reminded me of high school. When I was in high school, which was the same school you're in, but they would do the announcements every morning, the seniors,
Yeah,
and they decided the one year, I think I was a junior that year, they decided they were going to play something in the background while they were doing the announcements, and they played My Boo. At night, I think of you. Every day that they did announcements. Yeah. It was. I loved that song. Most of us did. But
yeah, when you hear the same thing over and over.
But it reminded me that they would play that behind the announcement. Like, that's the song that they picked for announcements.
Well, you know what I was just thinking about was the hooch. Did you have to work at the hooch? It was the straw hut.
The straw hut, yes. Actually, that's how I met George. Because when I was a sweeperette, I would wear my Clairton hoodie.
Oh, yeah.
And I would, be in that area, which was green. They were color-coded, rainbow color-coded. And you know what I mean when I say that. And then, so that was green. So whenever I had green, he'd be in that, and he would, because he was from the town that was the rival of my town.
Right.
We had this. Yeah. He was like, he would like jeer at me and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then so like we would go back and forth.
Then it strikes up a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. George was a funny
Kokomo
character.
Joe's. It was called Kokomo Joe's, wasn't it?
It was called Was it?
The hut was called Kokomo Joe's, I think.
But they labeled everything the hooch.
Yeah, because it's just easier.
But George, one time, you could, for the Sky Coaster, you could sign up to be the test run in the morning.
Oh.
And so you went to the rides office and you could sign up. And me, Jamie, and George decided we were going to do this. And
He's so tall, though.
he was. So he had to be in the middle. And then Jamie and I were on each side of him. And I had already ridden it before because I loved it. And he had never ridden it before. And I said, I love riding it, but I can't pull the cord right. So someone be the cord puller and I'll go on with you. Because not everybody wanted to do, there was a lot of people who were like, no way, you guys are crazy. We're not going up on there. So me, Jamie, and George decided to do it. George goes up. And as we're going up, he's like, guys, I don't like heights. And we're like, just be quiet, George. Just don't look.
Like, what do you do when you're walking around?
Yeah, true.
He's
very
6'7".
Yeah. So we're up, and then he's like, I don't like this, guys. I don't think this is a good idea. I don't know about this. We shouldn't be doing this. I can't do this. And we were like, we're already up here. Like,
and then there's nowhere else to go.
All of a sudden, he flips out. He's like, I think I see my house. Someone get me out of here. And he's flipping out up there. And I was like, oh, dear Jesus, please don't let us, he's like, pull the cord now. And he flipped out up there. And finally, Jamie was the cord puller, and she pulled the cord, and he screamed the entire way. And we
Did
just
he scream
laughed.
the whole time?
Yeah.
Even when it was swinging?
Yeah, we were laughing.
I have a story with my time on that.
We were laughing so hard. It was the funniest thing ever because he genuinely, at a certain point, you could tell when he was just joking around, and then at a certain point it switched. He really was petrified.
No, it went from that nervous talk, because I do that. When I get nervous, I won't shut up.
Yeah, I do the same.
And it goes, and it's like, it's just like a level. I'm nervous, and I'm just trying to be okay. I'm cool, but I'm just gonna keep talking and keep rattling them up. And then when it really hits you, it's just like, I don't know. It's like a bomb going off. Yeah. When I was on there, I wanted to be in the middle because I had never ridden. I went with a friend and the guy she was seeing at the time. And we go up there, and they're like, they put him in the middle. And I was like, I want to be in the middle. They're like, but he's taller than both of you. And then they're like, who's going to pull the cord? And I volunteered.
Ugh.
I'm the most nervous one doing it. And I volunteered to pull the cord. And I think the thought behind what I was thinking is that if I'll be in control when we get getting down. Yeah. I don't know. So they didn't like the idea, but we got on and we went up, and it's 1, 2, 3, and I just reached behind and pulled the cord. But I was crying and screaming and all that on the way up, and it's somewhere on YouTube because there was somebody that I came with was videotaping it, and you can hear him laughing at me. Because I'm screaming and crying. I'm never going to do this ever. I went through every emotion. Yeah. Yeah, I went through every emotion. Nervous, and then upset, and then screaming I'm not going to ever do this again. And then we click in there, and I pull the cord and I scream and then I'm laughing. I laughed the whole time. I loved the whole part, like after the drop.
Out of all the rides at Kennywood, that hands down was my favorite.
Really?
I loved that thing. I hated going up. I hated that like quick second of drop.
The click in.
Yeah.
The click
but
in.
That swing, when you're just swinging up
Yeah.
above the entire park, above everybody else. Speaking of flying above the thing, do you remember the cannon guy?
When we were younger, you mean?
Like, no,
at
Kennywood.
we were there.
At Kennywood. The guy, he was there, the cannon boy. I used to call him the cannon boy because there was a dad and there
On
was
the
a
lagoon.
son. Yeah. And the son was
I didn't know they still did that while we worked there.
I'm sure he was older than us, but he was younger. And every day, like, he used to have to walk by the hooch. That's what reminded me of the hooch.
Yeah.
Is if I was working in there, I would have to watch him walk, and I loved the cannon boy. And it was funny because my husband, like, I already was dating my husband, before I even started working. Yeah, thank God I did not have to do the dating scene at Kennywood. Like, I was already hitched.
Yeah.
Before I ever worked there, so I didn't have to deal with that side.
That's a nice thing to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the other end of that. I'm still looking around.
I always feel the universe has a plan. The universe has a plan, and
we're gonna get into that on the next podcast.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, because I think we should do another one.
Ooh, yeah.
Do you want to do another one?
Okay. Yeah. I love talking.
Yes,
I love talking.
I can't tell. But remember the shows?
Yes.
Like with the singing and the dancing and all that stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Did you ever know any of those?
No, I did. Did you ever know that?
Well,
because I feel like when you talk about like the sweeperettes being like the cheerleaders, I feel like the stage people also like
they were like
had
rent
their own.
They were like
there was like their own special like clique.
Yeah,
that was like above the like mop pushers.
Right. I agree. Most of the time they were to themselves, but I love music and anybody who's performing it. So when they would come out and like there was a band that would come out and like roam around, they would stop, maybe play a song or something.
Yeah.
I would go up to them like, "Can you play Brown Eyed Girl?" or whatever, like I would try to do requests and I'm working.
Yeah.
I probably made friends with one or two of them, I think, but I just can't remember. Like,
yeah.
I'm trying to think what else. I did. Remember? I don't know if you knew this or not. Do you remember the guy that lived in the park? The guy, we called him the guy, but there was a guy that lived in Kennywood, like a homeless guy.
No, but there was a pooper one season.
He's probably the guy. And he do you know what he looked like? Okay, so the guy who's like a middle-aged man, and from what I can remember, like bald on top with the hair around his sides and glasses. He would wear a green or brown shirt.
He used to make a salad from the
burger,
the condiment bar.
Yeah, he made condiment bar sandwiches.
Yes, he used to make like his own meals from the condiment bars.
Guess how he washed himself? I watched him one day. He was over at the Pittsburgh Plunge in the splash zone, just letting the waves hit him like one right after the other, and he just kept doing it. I'm like, he's taking a bath. This dude's getting washed up right now, like in front of everybody, like with clothes on. But he's like,
I feel like there's just so many.
I'm sorry.
There's so many stories from that park.
Oh yeah. I think it was a sweeperette. I can't remember if I was a sweeperette or if I was just walking past like Candy, like how there's like the area behind Candy where you can go sit in the benches and stuff. Yeah. I was back there and I saw a bag that had. See if I can remember this. There were Skittles.
They were like
and
grocery
like a
bags.
Toothbrush or something. It was like some kind of what's the word I'm looking for?
Like
toiletry thing, and then some candy, like in a little clear plastic bag stashed under a bush. And I was like, that's weird that somebody put that there. Like that's not like somebody dropped it. Like it was there on purpose. Yeah. Like, he lived there.
I mean, there was a lot of characters. Like one year, there were Kenyan Acrobats.
Oh,
And
I think I remember.
I think it was only a summer or whatever, but they were there, and they really were from Kenya.
Yeah.
And they would do these shows, but they were younger, like they were similar ages to us. And I remember this one girl, she came up and she was just in tears.
Oh.
And she was like the kindest,
She gets smacked with a club.
quietest. No, she was the kindest, quietest girl. And I guess she was deciding in life if she wanted to become a nun, and was trying to make that decision in life.
How did you find that? You just sat and had a conversation with her?
Yeah, she told us. And I guess before you do that...
Well, wait, how did this situation arise where you end up having a conversation with an acrobat about becoming a nun?
No, not the acrobat.
Oh.
A girl that worked in the park.
Oh.
A girl that worked in the park.
Okay,
she came crying, and we were like, oh my goodness, like, what's wrong? Like, can we help you? What's the matter? Here, she started dating one of the Kenyan acrobats, and she didn't know how to reconcile like her life decision of like maybe becoming a nun, but now she's sneaking out to see the Kenyan acrobat.
Well, I guess the nun thing isn't really what she's called to do, huh?
Yes, the universe definitely provided an answer.
Like, no, not you.
For sure, but I mean, it's just like these stories that like you couldn't make up if you tried. Of things that happened at that park.
I know I have more. I have so many more, and I'm just trying to like.
And I don't, you don't want to rat people out in their lives today.
Oh, I'll rat myself out. I actually have a home video that I made of our last day, one day at Pizza Pav, and I don't know if you were there or not, but you know how the last day was usually like the prank day?
Yes, because
they got rid of that, but
that's because they stopped closing on Labor Day. That Monday, what would happen is Monday was Labor Day, and it was the last day of the year.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't Phantom Fright Nights. It wasn't Holiday Lights.
It's called Phantom Fall Fest now, but I prefer the old name personally.
Yeah, I don't keep up with all this stuff.
That's fine. I just kind of like letting people know.
It's because the park closed on Mondays. So when the park was closed, that was the last day of the year.
Yeah.
And it was not opening again till, the next spring.
It wasn't usually a busy crowd. It was like normal.
No. And so it was just a day of shenanigans.
Yes.
All day. Did you
I
swim
have some of those shenanigans on a videotape somewhere.
Did you swim in the fountains?
I put somebody in the fountain. So there was this girl. I don't know if you remember Courtney. She was real tiny, skinny girl. And I think I hate to admit it, but I was kind of the ringleader for this one. But I brought my video camera in, and we were going to, everybody got. That's what we were calling it, that you got. You were going to get got that day. So everybody that came in, something happened to them. So either we even went and got powdered sugar over from the funnel cake place. So we would throw like water and powdered sugar on people as they were walking in. Or I think we got one girl with like the pizza sauce.
Oh boy.
Or something.
Yeah.
And then Courtney, 4 of us decided to pick her up and walk her up to the fountain. And as we did, we very courteously took her socks and shoes off for her, and then just placed her. We didn't want to throw her; we just placed her in the fountain. But we kept her.
Yeah, everybody got thrown in the fountain. Because even today, I tell my kids, I was like, "Oh, I swam in that fountain. Oh, I swam in that fountain."
Oh, I never actually went in any of the fountains myself.
Because some of the plumbers had told us which ones are chlorinated and which ones
So it's more of a pool.
Yeah, like Dancing Waters, which was back behind the candy store. It kind of looked like gradually
like Mineral Beach.
Yes, Mineral Beach. I love Mineral Beach. I learned to swim at Mineral Beach.
My mom liked Mineral Beach.
My aunt used to take us there all summer long. Me and my cousins.
Yeah.
And then
you lived real close to it. Well, we weren't that far away.
No, because I lived in West Mifflin, so I lived near Jim's Hot Dog.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay, Jim's Hot Dogs. Okay, I know exactly where
Best
that is.
sauce around. But so we would always go out there, and then we'd always stop at Trax Farm on the way back to get ice cream.
We used to go to Trax Farm for the pumpkin patch thing.
Oh, yeah.
And we would it in the fall. And then we'd get a caramel apple and do the hayride. And well, the hayride took you to the pumpkin patch, and then you picked your pumpkin, and it brought you back. Isn't that how it worked?
Probably, but I never did. I mean, with my kids, I've done that stuff.
Yeah.
Other places, but usually that's what goes on. But
just checking on my dog. She moved from the couch to her own bed.
I was like, how could you possibly disappear?
I know. There's nowhere to go.
And you can't miss her.
Yeah. What else? Oh, so every time we would get somebody, as they were coming in that day, like, we'd hurry up and clean up. Well, like, we got, I think it was Christy. Remember tall Christy? I think her name was Christy.
Maybe
I think she was a co-manager with you.
Maybe like came from
when
pizza.
you guys were called managers, and the other ones were called supervisors. And then when corporate took over, they switched.
Yeah, and by that
and now
point,
I don't know what to call who.
Yeah, because that was like towards the end. Once they switched to that corporate, I think it was the summer.
You guys were supervisors, and then the people with the walkie-talkies were managers.
Yeah, they had switched.
And it was like,
but
why?
I was gone at that point. Like that was like right when I had left, because I was I needed Kennywood for college, and then when I was working on my master's, I was still up in the office, but I was teaching in the summer. I was teaching, so then I would work all summer at Kennywood, and that's how I paid for my master's. So then once I finished my master's, and then I was like had a full-time regular job,
right.
I was just like, okay, like my run is done.
Yeah.
It just became too much.
And now a word from our sponsors. Do you have a dog? Does it poop? Mine does. Do you know what I do when my dog poops? I call my poopsies. I call Poopsies Pet Services. They're serving the Allegheny County area. If you are feeling trapped when your dog takes a crap, there's no need to fear. Poopsies Pet Services is here. They will clean up your yard and remove the waste that your pet makes. Give them a call today, tomorrow, or even next Tuesday. Their number is 412-482-4600. Text the word Poopsies to 85100 for special offers and updates, or you could email them at poopsies412@gmail.com. That's POOPSIES 412@gmail.com. Give them a call and get your yard cleaned up, because it's dirt. This episode is also brought to you by Zach's Bike Shop. They're located in McKeesport, Pennsylvania. 3014 Walnut Street, McKeesport, PA is the address. The phone number is 412-751-5278 if you want to give them a call before you head down there. They have brand new bikes, a ton of brand new bikes, Marins, Giant, and they can work on your bike if you have one already. So if you want a bike or need a bike, or you already have a bike, you could head down there and they can help you out. They're really great guys. They know what they're doing. So go check them out in McKeesport, Pennsylvania, on Walnut Street, Zach's Bike Shop.
Working full time, because then you would have that overlap of the school year, like September, like August to September, and then Fright Night started, and then it went all the way to August or to October.
Yeah,
and then April, May, June. I was working 7 days a week because I was teaching all week, and then at Kennywood all weekend.
So it was too much.
Yeah, it just got way too much.
There's a lot of times in my life where I had multiple jobs. Like it would be, but I always try to keep Kennywood. I always try to keep it for a long time. So I was at Kennywood from the summer '97, July '97 through, I want to say August of 2003. And you know how they had that rule where you weren't allowed to take time off during Dark Week? So Dark Week was when the park only didn't open till 5. And they were open from like 5 to whenever they closed.
Yeah.
Back when they used to close anytime between 10 and 12, depending on weather and crowd.
Yeah.
And now it's just like they close at like 10 or something.
Do they? It literally has been
It's
years.
sad.
Like we've gone for like the holiday lights, but it's been years since I've actually been in the park, like as a like actual
Guest.
go to ride. Yeah, guest. And a lot of it just has to do with location. You know,
Right.
like it's like a haul for us now. So
Right. It's not easy to get to now. But what was I saying?
Dark Week.
Dark Week. Oh, I wanted to go on. That was how my run ended. So I went to school for hospitality management, right? So I went to the Boyd School for Hospitality Management, and because I liked the environment of an amusement park,
right?
And I wanted to do that. Well, it got to the point where I used Kennywood as my intern, like my internship.
Oh, yeah.
I just used since I was already working there, and then I'm trying to think. Oh, I finally got promoted. Like I was trying so hard to get promoted there, and I wasn't the favorite. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
So I finally got promoted after like 7 years of being there or something, and then I got promoted to Dipper. So
Dipper.
I went from Pizza Pav, the biggest, to the smallest stand.
And Pizza Pav was enormous.
It was, but I
like
knew
that
it.
basement was like a roller skating rink.
I remember we found a locust down there, and somebody froze it in sanitizer water.
Oh.
Oh, I remember having. So you know how there was like 3 pop machines, and there was that one on the side that nobody ever used.
Yeah.
Me and this dude. I always called him Gus, but his name was Russ. And for some reason, he looked like a Gus to me, so I would always call him Gus.
Nobody had, like, their names. Like, everybody, like, had some kind of...
It was either your last name, or it was just... I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't do it on purpose. It was just he looked like a Gus to me. and he would get mad. But anyway, I remember we were cleaning, and we decided to check out this pop machine that, like... was like the pop machine of Christmas Past or something like that. Like it
nobody
was just
used
like,
it.
Yeah, and we took the back panel off. It was like Spider Central, and then one giant mama centipede like roaming around.
Ugh.
Oh,
and you know,
my! We were like standing like 3 feet away,
and I have to
squirting
say,
sanitizer water and whatever we could.
And I gotta say, for the most
horrible.
part, like that park, they worked really hard to keep stuff clean.
Yes,
like you got in big doo doo if you didn't have stuff clean. So it's not normal, you know.
No, well, it was nothing. It was something that wasn't used.
Yeah,
Plus,
yeah.
There's all that sugar. I'm sure there's syrup left in there.
Yeah, like stuck back
this
up
was
in there.
A long time ago. But like it was just neglected because nobody ever used it.
Right? Yeah.
We always used the 1 or 2 pop.
Yeah, because I don't even know if there was any tank. There was probably nothing even hooked
there wasn't
up
anything
to it.
connected to it. No, it was not usable.
It was just sitting there idle.
To clean it. You know, to get, we were going over stuff, and we decided to like give it a deep cleaning, and
You know what? The one thing I hated about being the manager of Pizza Pavilion was that you also were in charge of
corn.
Corn?
Did you do kettle corn?
No, I didn't have to do kettle corn, but there was like a slushy stand.
Yeah.
Like towards the end of the Pittsburgh Plunge, and then there was a drink station in the exterminator line.
Oh, I remember that. I had to do each of those maybe like once or twice, and it sucked.
That was the worst. Trying to like have to sell someone on the fact that
like
it's your turn to go stand in the exterminator line all day away from everybody else.
If they would have given me
drinks.
A costume to wear at the exterminator line, give me a rat or something. That would be fun. If I was the way I was, if I was the way I am now, then I would have had a good time because I'd have been talking to people.
And usually you end
up
putting somebody down there that like either slows the line down or like in the actual pizza stand or like just someone you're like, okay, we need a break. I mean, sometimes it was just a roll of the dice. You know what I mean? Like someone had to go, and unfortunately you had to pick someone.
Yeah.
But what I used to do is I used to take them aside, and I'd be like, listen. I was like, this, like, I can't trust people down there. You're down there by yourself with the money. And I would give them this, like, huge pep talk. And I'd be like, I need you down there. Can you do that for me? And they'd be like, oh, okay. And they would, like, go and they would, like, give me, and they'd come back and they'd give me a wink. And I'd think, like, thank God. Like, I just need anybody to go down there. But I used to give them these little pep talks of, like, how important it was to be down there at that exterminator stand.
I loved being on Oven. I was a
Yeah, me
badass
too.
on that Oven.
I still have scars.
We had the little pizzas at Pizza Pav, and I would, when we were super busy, like if it was cheerleader day, we had all different days. They still have most of them. Like,
Yeah.
but if it was Italian day, cheerleader day,
Yeah, there were some
Carpenter's
days.
Day.
Carpenter's Day
was
crazy.
it was really busy. That was like the busiest day. That and cheerleader day. Those
Yeah.
were like the two
An
busiest
Italian
days.
Day.
Italian Day was right behind it.
Although over time that started to trickle off.
Yeah, because they didn't have like all the old traditional like dancing and all that stuff that they had in the past before our time.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is sad. And my pap told me this joke. We were
Oh boy.
about Italian Day. Well, I'm Italian, so whatever. Hate me if you want. But we were I might mess it up. But he was like, yeah, I was at Kennywood. He was like, I was at Kennywood on Italian Day sitting on the bench watching the day go.
Day go.
Wah, wah.
Wah,
Day
wah.
goes. Anyway. You know what was annoying when I was a sweeperette? That made me think of something. When people would be sitting on the benches and I'd be like sweeping stuff up, and they would bend over and like put their cup or whatever garbage in your bucket. Like, come here, like I was a moving garbage can or whatever. I mean, technically I am, but like, not your personal garbage can,
Well, one year, like the litter getters had radios. They had one radio that was on the truck. Because like if there was like a spill or something, they'd have to call them and figure out the whereabouts of the litter getters. And one year they left the radio unattended on the truck, and somebody stole it. And those Motorola radios are expensive. So it got stolen, and it was like this whole big hoopla, and they come with their tails between their legs, like whatever. And okay, whatever, it happens. But whoever stole it lived near the park. And so they started listening in, and they started learning people's names on the radios. And then all of a sudden they'd interject in, and they'd be like, hey, Carol, can you get me, I'm at Taco Bell. What should I order? 1, 2, or 3? Or, like they would like interject and start trying to have conversations with us.
I refrained from saying it.
You want to say it?
No, I won't.
So
there's a type of taco. Speaking of tacos, we're on our podcast is called Don't Be a Taco.
Of course.
We'll get to the story that I was going to tell you after you're done.
Ooh, I'm so excited to hear it. I love a good story. So they stole the walkie-talkie, and they would like randomly beep in. They would call us by our names. They would like talk or whatever. And then we were like, okay, at some point this thing's going to die. Like it's over with. It did die, and it was like radio silence, and we thought it was over. And
they found a charger.
It was the days of eBay. It was an eBay first, was becoming popular, and then I don't know, like a week or two. I don't know how long it was. There was a space in time where like it went radio silent, and we thought it was over, and then they came back on, and like that entire summer. Like randomly, these people would like pop back on the radios.
Like fucking around with Kennywood right now?
Yeah,
that's good. They're probably like every time they got high or something,
and they
probably smoke a joint, like let's go fuck with Kennywood employees.
And they would listen to. It was funny because they would listen to like the conversation, so they would start to learn people's names and things. Just little tidbits.
Yeah. Like we're going to need a litter getter over by, in Purple. We're going to need a litter getter in Purple. Purple was Pittsburgh.
The Plunge.
Yeah, it was Lost Kennywood. Yeah, that's what's Purple. I remember most of them. Red and blue, I get confused. Orange was the worst to be in. Like, so they know what I'm talking about. Like, the park was, when I was a sweeperette, how they assigned us to each area that like it was assigned by color. So each part of the park was a color. So the worst one of being was orange. Because orange was only the loop between the Thunderbolt and around those games, and then like a little over by the train,
Oh,
and
so you
that
just
was
were in
it.
the same circle
That
all
was
day
it.
long.
And guess who you got to hear all flippin' day long?
The stage show.
Laughing Sal.
Oh,
The stage show was a little bit of a break, like a little bit something
Yeah.
for me at least. It was okay,
right.
but no, I would like hear Laughing Sal almost all the way until I got to the Thunderbolt, and then the Thunderbolt took over.
You could hear that far away.
Well, when you're going in circles
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and you're just listening
you
to
can hear it.
everything, there's really nothing else to listen to besides noise.
And that's like
The
an
show-
iconic stop. You got to stop and
But
listen to her laugh.
I would I was despising her for a while, but I do love Laughing Sal.
They gave her a makeover one year, and we were all like, "Whoa, she has a new dress on."
There's only like 2 or 3 of those left in the world or something.
Oh, really? I didn't know there was more than one.
Yeah, there's like a few amusement parks. Let me look real quick. Oh, but what I was going to wait, there was a story that I was. Yeah, Laffing Sal. Laughing Sal is one of several animatronic characters that were built primarily to attract carnival and amusement park patrons to fun houses and dark rides throughout the United States. Where's Laughing Sal now? This Laughing Sal now sits in the Musée. I don't know how to say that. Mechanique at Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco. Oh, that's just a specific one.
San Francisco.
We need a person that does all the Googling for us. like
like a researcher.
Yeah. There was something. Wait, what were we talking about? There was something I was gonna.
The Sweeperette in the orange zone.
No, it was before that. What were you talking about?
Walkie talkies. Crazy people.
Ah, man, it'll come back to me.
You know, we used to rollerblade in the park before the park opened.
I did cleanup crew 2 times.
I did it 1 year.
Do you see this mark on
Easy
my
off
forearm
burn.
right here? This is the pink stuff.
Oh, the
I
pink
have
stuff.
so that they know, I have a permanent scar from 1999 on what is this? My forearm? Is that what that's
yeah, your forearm.
Like it looks like freckles, but that is actually from my skin being burned. It looks like a birthmark.
I had an easy off burn.
You want to know what it was? The Belgian waffle maker. When they had the Belgian waffles,
Oh yeah.
I was determined to get that thing sparkling clean, and I let the pink stuff was the real strong stuff.
Yeah.
There was the yellow, the pink, and the easy off. They only
Yeah.
allowed us to have easy off during like normal
off season.
right? Normal
Yeah.
season, and then I let that stuff soak overnight so that I was scrubbing the shit out. I spent a whole day on it, and Lori eventually was like, "You have to let it go." I was determined.
I did the off season 1 year, and man, that is brutal cleaning. And the thing I have to say about Kennywood is that they work tirelessly to keep that park clean.
Yeah.
You know, as far as like the food, you know, because even remember Ray the Pepsi guy. Ray the Pepsi guy.
He gave me
used
a
to
box knife that I used. Like I hung it from my badge.
Yeah. He used to go into a lot of different places, and a lot of times the Pepsi lines were like down in basements or underneath, and he always said Kennywood was one of the cleanest places that he ever had to service.
Remember when we would leave our mark on stuff, like before we had computerized registers, we would have to have the register tape.
Yeah.
And you'd have to send the tape down with the boards. Remember the boards? And we would write stuff on the boards. Like then we would like in the basements and stuff, we would put our names.
Yeah.
I drew a Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, because especially like the cellar steps going down to pizza, everybody signed that or wrote their memories.
Yeah. How about, I think the Bugs Bunny that I drew down there, the person that tried to get me fired, like I think she got rid of
Changed
it
it.
somehow. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was so much. Then there was like the pizza stand had a telephone,
Oh yeah, I
and
remember that.
you
Yeah.
could get. It was the only place you could get outside phone calls, and they used to do the whoosh. It was like you flush the toilet, like you like. So what they would do is they would call and they would say, "Hey, Melissa, there's a phone call for you." And then they would, leave the phone off the hook waiting for you. And then you'd come and somebody would whoosh flush the toilet.
Who were they doing?
Just calling like random people.
Oh, I remembered what I was gonna say.
Oh, go ahead, say it.
So, do you remember, like initiating people, and you would send them on a mission to get a left-handed smoke deflector?
Oh yeah, or like some kind of something that didn't exist.
We always did the left-handed smoke deflector. I remember this one. I forget what his name was, but I liked him. And Neil, I think his name was Neil. And we were at Pizza Pav, and I was like, Neil, I need you to go get a left-handed smoke deflector. Just go to the stand up here and just wherever you need to go find one. He went to like every stand, and
because people were all in the know.
I think he made it all the way to Star from Lost Kennywood,
like all the
and they
Lost
finally
Kennywood
looked at him, was like, "No, dude, like it doesn't
exist.
exist.
Like, go home, go back to your home."
Yeah, there were some other ones. My brother remembers them, but I can't.
Well, we used to make kids dance for straws or like do things like. At pizza, we would like if they'd come up and be like, "Can we have a straw?" We'd be like, "Okay, you have to make a frog sound first, or you have to."
I never did that.
Well, and George, he used to make animal sounds. Do you remember his animal sounds? And they were very realistic. And there used to be like where this back sink was, there was a screen, like a wall, like
a wall
wooden
that you couldn't see.
Yeah,
I remember that's where we would put our cups.
Yeah, and he would sit back there and we'd be like, "We have a horse here."
That's where I lit the cigarette.
And they'd be like,
before I walked out.
They'd be like, "Really?" And he would like do the horse sound, and like people would like, like step back. We're like, "Yeah, we keep the horses back there."
Yeah, they love pizza.
Yeah,
they help us make.
They
the
help
sauce.
power the rides.
Yeah, they're the ones that keep the oven going. No, what was the other thing I was gonna say? Man, I keep forgetting.
But it's funny though how many people whose lives were shaped around that park.
Oh, I loved it there. I still love it. I mean, I went back. I went back for Fright Nights.
It was funny, like before I was coming here and I was starting to think about like what do I really remember about Kennywood? And I think about like my entire family, like before I was even born. If you lived in the Mon Valley,
I gotta start writing stuff down so I don't forget.
Kennywood
Go ahead.
was such a part of your life.
Yeah.
Like even when I look at pictures of my great-grandparents, my grandparents there, black and white photos. Like there's pictures of me like 6 years old sitting on, the bench with swapping yarns with Cowboy Joe.
Yeah. How about my grandparents met there? At
That's
the dance hall.
The dance hall burned
Before
down.
it burned down,
I
right.
have a...
I wish there was a dance hall when we were young.
I have the
That would be
newspaper
amazing.
article because my dad was a firefighter, and I had the newspaper article of the fire hall, it being on fire.
Speaking of tragedies, I'm thinking of two things at the same time right now. Lake Cache, so sad. R.I.P. Lake Cache. That went up in flames.
Do you know I have who was that artist that would do all the Kennywood? Linda Barnicott. Remember she would do all those Kennywood
like sketches?
Yeah, like paintings or whatever. But she had a line art one. It was just black and white of the La Cachette, and it still hangs in my dining room.
I always said
don't know.
Lake Cache. I don't know.
It probably is.
I don't know.
I'm not French either. I don't know anything about French.
But like that was the best ride.
I love
ride
that one.
because it was different.
Yeah, I mean, you just hear that like that.
It was like
of like the
it was a booth. So for people who don't know, so you like sit in this giant booth and it had red cushions on the inside. It was like blue and
it kind of looked like a king's throne.
Yeah, in a way, yeah, like
sort of the way it was upholstered, and
almost like the Haunted Mansion, and but it had more character to it. It wasn't just a plain old booth, and
on wheels.
But like when you're when you were on that track inside, though, it was like, and then you'd be like,
I could still hear that sound.
Yeah.
And then, like,
I wonder if
it
it was
would
on
swing it
purpose.
sideways so the back of the chair would open the doors to the next room.
Oh,
and you'd hear that, like,
yeah.
like that big kaplunk as
I
you were,
miss
like,
that.
moving into the next room.
Ghostwood Estates just doesn't do it for me. There's one thing that's super cool about Ghostwood Estates, though, where the Gold Rusher used to be.
Yeah.
So when you have, I don't know if you've,
I've been in,
yeah, but on the outside, the inside is just like a kid's game, right? But the outside, when you look at the outside from like Thomastown, I have my own opinions about that. Part of Kennywood right now.
I think if you're like a diehard, like old school,
you're not crazy about
like the characters.
Thomastown at night during Fright Nights. When you're looking is scary.
It's creepy.
Yeah, his face is creepy. There should just be like that. They won't allow any kind of scaring in Thomastown. So we're not allowed to use Thomastown.
That makes
Fright
sense.
Nights. Yeah. But anyway, so when you're standing in that midway where the games are, or like at Thomastown, and you look up at Ghostwood Estates, you know how it looks like a big haunted mansion?
Right.
There is a hologram of a shadow in the window, like somebody's like getting murdered or something.
Really?
Yeah, it's
I'll have
amazing.
To check it out next time
That's the coolest thing about it. So you don't even have to go in to see the coolest thing.
I'm excited because this year they said that there's like the old mill's back.
Well, the old mill's been back.
Oh, has it?
No, what's back
but like
is
not
the
Garfield. They switched it from the Garfield stuff?
It's been the old mill for a couple years. But this year they're bringing the kangaroo back because they took it away a year or two ago. Yeah. Because they got rid of a few old rides. The paratroopers, which is sad.
Oh, I love the paratroopers.
But the kangaroo was my very first favorite ride as a kid. That was the first ride I loved.
I had an aunt. That was like your rite of passage when you were old enough to go on the kangaroo with my one aunt.
Yeah. Like because it's literally the kangaroo, Kenny the kangaroo.
Yeah,
like Mr. Kennywood would be there shaking your hand, just like he would go between that and the merry-go-round. From what I know, maybe he went to the paratroopers too, but he would like go and shake your hand and talk to you and stuff. Remember him?
Yeah.
What do I want to say? Oh, okay. So Darlene had to go, and we did a lot of jumping around. Seems to be something that I do a lot, and we just go from one subject to the other, and there are stories unfinished. And if there is any story that we started and didn't stop and didn't get back to. For anybody listening to this on YouTube, just leave a comment if you were curious about the rest of a story that we didn't complete. I do know that we had a great time working there. It's a wonderful experience, and I hope and I'm sure that it still is for a lot of people. That make that their summer job or their first job. You know, when you're growing up, it really is a great place. Great place for your first gig. Get to meet people outside of your area. I mean, it's easier nowadays with technology, but it was such a great experience when growing up when we didn't have the internet and Facebook and MySpace and Twitter and everything else. Just a very wonderful experience for so many people. So I just want to say real quick, when we do air this, it will be on YouTube. It will be on Patreon. We may do another episode that will include more memories and other things in between. Some of it may be exclusively on Patreon. So you can go there and subscribe to Don't Be a Taco. And then also we'll have most of or all of at least this episode on YouTube, on the YouTube channel, Don't Be a Taco. I hope that anybody listening had fun. If anybody that was listening has ever been to Kennywood, I hope that it made you think of all the memories you have had there. Or maybe you haven't been to Kennywood. Maybe you've been to the hometown amusement park in your state or city, and it brought you some nostalgia. So that's kind of the point. And we talked about stuff we complained about, and we had jokes but it's just all part of the big picture, part of the experience, and it's what makes it so memorable and so special to us. You have just listened to Darlene and Melissa talk about their Kennywood memories, and I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Thank you for listening, and don't be a taco. Have an awesome day.